We're here.
And I am recording again. And three, two, one. I'm ready when you are.
Hey, man, it's the after hour. There's really nothing to kind of get into. I mean, okay,
Actually,
but
I had something that I wanted to discuss. You go ahead. It sounds like you got something.
yeah, did you really like get up from Thanksgiving table and look at a 7-year-old and go, I don't have to put up with this shit and like
Yes, I
leave?
did. Yep, yep, dude.
You said that
With
to a
my fam.
7-year-old?
Well, I didn't say it to the 7-year-old. I said it to like the people at the table. Yeah, I would like because it really was one of those like you could see everyone at the table go like, oh, what's he gonna do? Because like it was very like like when she did that and she was just like "Nyeh, nyeh, nyeh, nyeh," like everyone at the table went, oh, like it was very much like a fight's gonna break out. What's gonna happen? And so I was like, I'm gonna be the bigger man and I'm gonna walk away because fuck you, kid. Like.
You literally are the bigger. I am so confused by this story. Like, is this like a sociopathic kid, like Macaulay Culkin? Like, what? Like, what?
It's a random 7-year-old. No, actually, here's the thing. Here's what I figured out later on. Like it took a little while for me to figure this out. But like in the next round, while they were playing, her brother made a comment on how she's doing really well in this round. And I kind of went like, ah, she's cheating. That's why she didn't want to shuffle the cards because she remembered the order they were in and she wanted to take advantage of that. And I was ruining her plan by saying if you don't shuffle, the cards are going to be the same order. And her yin was basically shut the fuck up, old man. I got a plan here. But you know what? I didn't out her. I just went on without my fuck. I just went on with my day because you know what? My kids are grown up. I don't have to deal with this shit anymore.
Where that's the image that gets put into the brain with that story is kind of an interesting one. And I'm just
just me
hoping that it
me
isn't that.
towering just me towering over a small child going, I don't need to put up with your shit.
Kinda.
It's not how no, it's not how
I
it
was
went.
a
It
little
was
bit, I
it,
was a little,
it was more me
kinda
backing
like,
away from a table.
kinda like when we were doing the GARP episode and you were like, oh God, is he really talking about it? I was like, did Doc really just tell this story? So, so now you see what it's like to be me.
Okay, sure. All right.
No, I really do like with that GARP episode, and I to be safe, I did cut a bunch of that out. But as I was editing it, I was sitting there going like, this ain't that bad. But then I'm like, dude, this is the white guy like analyzing the white guy's stuff about this ain't that bad. Like you aren't like I'm sitting there telling myself you aren't the right judge for this.
No, and that's true. But I think that's kind of my worry was, and like I said at the time, is like, dude, I know you're a good guy. I know where you come from. I'm worried about people who don't know you taking this the wrong way. That was my worry.
Oh no, I get that. However, for what I actually was talking about, the Elizabeth or the Jamesians,
Right, yeah.
Ellen Jamesians.
The
That's what
Ellen
it was.
Jamesians, that's right. Yep.
The women that were cutting their tongues out in solidarity with this victim. And
Mhm.
my position on that was 100% GARPs. I sympathize with the child. I sympathize with the one that it happened to. I think everybody doing it to themselves is crazy.
Right, yeah.
No,
Yep.
yeah, but it was because we talked about the introduction of Roberta Muldoon at the exact same time, it made that so iffy. I saw where you were
Yeah.
coming from. Yeah. But you did want me to remind you that Roberta Muldoon was the most beloved character of Garp while we were on the air. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and no, and that's great, and I love that. Yes, because yeah, like, and we were even talking about it during the show. Was that of that whole movie, Roberta is the only sinless character, so it's understandable that she would be the favored one because she kind of was like. she was the grounding of the whole thing with everybody acting crazy around her. She was the one who was and the interesting thing was is that she never like abandoned anyone no matter how crazy they got. She was always there to be supportive in whatever while not getting overwhelmed. Like she was like, I'm here to help you, but first I got to go on a cruise and I'll be right back. Try not to kill each other while I'm gone. Like she was so fucking grounded in every way. So yeah,
She
I
was a
I get it.
fantastic character. I
Yeah.
I will absolutely give you that. Of all the, what do you call character? Is that trans? That's what that's how you refer to that, right?
Oh,
That's it.
Roberta?
Yeah, trans
Yeah, yeah.
character.
She was full on trans.
Okay,
Like
I have a question
she
that's
even
a little bit dangerous.
mm,
Is transvestite still a word?
I've been wondering that myself, actually. Yes. And I'm yeah, I don't know, and I'm still wondering because I remember, like, yeah, before a lot
And
of the.
and is hermaphroditic now a bad word?
I mean, it's as far as I know, it's still very medical, in a lot of cases. So I guess it depends on who it is, like, and why. So
No,
yeah, it's a good
those were a
question.
couple, like when we were like when we were covering garb. Those were a couple questions that kind of came up, but we spent so much time on garb. I could not add
Hmm.
any more into that episode.
Yeah.
No, that was reminiscent of like our early days of like 6-hour episodes, which, how did we do that on a regular basis?
That's a really good question. I don't know. We did.
Now that we've kind of tightened it up and everything like that, now our standard like 3.5 hours. When we reach our finish time, I am done.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm kind of mystified at the fact that we used to go till like 2 in the morning.
It is, yeah, and maybe it was like the honeymoon period thing where the whole thing was new and exciting, and so it was easy to do for a lot longer. Now that we're in, a little bit more of our routine, then yeah, it
I'm
can
not
be a
gonna
different
lie,
thing.
man. Watching the world get the chicken pox with all the locations where people are downloading our podcast, that that is really cool.
Hmm.
That is something that kind of hypes me up every time I see that.
It is pretty cool, yeah. Um, yeah, no, and it is. And I think part of it too is like we did talk about this before about how like we were going on way more tangents before too. Like we were
Mm-hmm.
constantly dropping like personal stories as related to the movies and stuff like that. So we had a lot. We filled more time by not talking about the movie nearly as much as we do now.
We have gotten better at talking about the movie and picking up some trivia and some special things. I'm really happy that I happen to have some trivia on hand about the that one viewers that was commenting the scene that they said was their favorite.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was
That
pretty cool.
that made me really happy. I was like that was something that felt kind of cool to be able to, that's what I want to do, you know?
Yeah.
That's my point. And the formula of I bring the, most of the time, the more sought after films, but if we can get
Oh,
the
the
show to
mainstream
actually,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. But I kind of stand by it. A lot of the mainstream stuff that I do bring is pretty damn good. And I watched another movie this week that I'm gonna toss on this list. Oh my god, I love the movie Stardust.
Oh, Stardust. Yeah.
That is like a classic like 70s 80s adventure movie that they pulled off in like mid 2000s, and it was great.
Yeah, you know what's hilarious? The first time I saw Stardust was by accident. It's because I was in China and I thought I was buying a bootleg copy of The Golden Compass, and it had the wrong and it had I got the wrong movie. Instead, I got Stardust, and I'm like 15 minutes into this movie going, "What the fuck is going on?" I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good. I'm in, but this is clearly not The Golden Compass.
just the initial cast in the opening scenes of that movie.
Yeah.
Ian McKellen, Charlie Cox, Henry Cavill. I mean, oh my god. And Robert De Niro as Captain Shakespeare.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sorry, there
Oh
are there
Jesus.
are
Yeah.
many Robert De Niro roles.
None like that one. No, for sure. Yeah.
Not like that. No. That was something
That was a
unique.
singular performance. Yeah.
That was special. That was
Yes.
wonderful.
No, yeah,
The
I wouldn't mind
yeah,
covering this. Yeah.
yeah.
Because yeah,
So
and I think you're right. Even though it's technically mainstream, I think it's also a little underappreciated. Probably because it came out at the same time as Golden Compass. So
I never saw the Golden Compass. I don't even know what you're talking about.
really?
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, it was a kind of sort of kids book, but not really. It got really dark at some points, and so it's kind of debatable as to how good for kids it is. But it's based off of the His Dark Materials book series. And they did, in fact, I think HBO actually, yeah, HBO was it HBO or Showtime? One of the pay guys did a series adaptation of it. I think it went 2 seasons before they canceled it, and that one was pretty good too.
Oh, but they
Um,
canceled it? Okay, that sucks.
yeah.
I hate jumping in on something when I don't get to actually finish it.
Well, I mean, the good news is that these are based on books that I'm pretty sure are finished. So, I mean, you could call it a taste test.
That's fair. Which I'll give it that. You're not an epic fantasy reader? I'm sorry. What the fuck is that about?
We're gonna bring that into this now. That was told to you in confidence, Brad.
I have a book on my shelf recommended to me from you that the series can be classified as epic fantasy.
Which one are you talking about?
I think it's like The Gathering. It's in the other room. It's the one I told you that was wildly. I could not figure out what was going on on the page and stuff like that. And you had to tell me like the names don't really matter. You don't have to know too much about this. They say it and then it moves forward.
I do not remember this at all.
I'll be right back.
Oh, The Color of Magic. Oh, okay. 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 Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett.
Yes. Okay. In the most technical sense, yes, that is epic fantasy, but it is also more than epic fantasy. It is a satire of epic fantasy. That makes the pill go down way easier, okay?
How? I don't.
It's funny.
How?
It's
Oh,
funny.
come on. That doesn't make it satire of it. That just makes it funny fantasy.
I mean, it is also satire.
Is that why I can't understand shit in this book?
I'm honestly floored that you're having that much trouble with it because it's basically it's a fantasy. It's basically a fantasy version of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Like that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, and the storerooms of drug masters that made men go mad and talk to God. Yes, no, like, there is confusion in this book.
Okay, I guess it.
Mostly, I couldn't figure out one, like, as it was going through the list of characters and as they were talking to each other, one, I couldn't even figure out how many characters it was actually describing because the names of the characters, the regions they're from, I couldn't even tell when the character description over when they stopped naming themselves.
Which is funny because that is how because that's an epic fantasy thing. That's what makes it funny, is how ridiculous it is when epic fantasy is like, and here's 30 characters. Half of them will die in the next page, but you must know their names and their entire family history.
Okay, but the books you do read though, aren't they like what are the books you read?
What are the books I read? I mean, okay, well, okay, so like right now I'm in the middle of my second Brandon Sanderson book, The Way of Kings, which yeah, is pretty meaty, I gotta say. But I'm doing that one audiobook wise, so that makes it easier. I'm listening to it while I'm driving, and that makes it kind of, you know, I'm not worried about falling asleep, when I'm at every page. Which to his credit, like I probably wouldn't even if I was reading it because it is pretty well written, but it is pretty meaty. There's a lot going on. But yeah, I don't know. The thing is like my book tastes are kind of the same as my movie tastes. I'm all over the board on that one, and the only reason I don't read more is because yeah, I have a tendency to fall asleep when I'm reading, and so audiobooks are better. And but the number of things that I do where an audiobook is an option, where it's actually like something that's helpful rather than distracting. I can't listen to an audiobook and write at the same time.
Oh no.
So but like if I'm out driving or stuff like that, I do like a lot of essays. Like one of my favorite books in the world is actually a historical textbook ish ish. It's more of an
What is it?
analysis than a textbook. It's called Lafayette in the not so united in the somewhat United States. No, in the not so United States. Lafayette in the somewhat United States. And it's basically just sort of a study on not just Lafayette himself, but how he was regarded as a hero post Revolutionary War America.
Hmm.
Um, and it's written by Sarah Vowell, who's got a few books like this. She also did Assassination Vacation, Partly Cloudy Patriot, uh, all really good, all really good books. I recommend them all, but my favorite is Lafayette in the Not So United in the Somewhat United States. Trivia question: she is the voice of Violet Parr in the Incredibles movies, and that is probably the only thing any of you will ever have heard of her doing, other than these books she writes.
Fair enough. Uh my preference for books is the exact opposite as my preference for film.
Okay.
I like detective books. The
Okay.
reason that I don't like detective films and TV shows is because I always know who did it before just because of the way the films are made.
Right, yeah. They give
Who
those
was
tells, yeah.
cast? Yeah, who was cast? Lingering looks, things like that. All of those things to give the audience a hint, and you don't get blindsided the way that you get in detective stories.
Sure, yeah.
Like that is like that's
I get that.
why. Yeah, I don't actually think I've read a horror novel in the
Mhm.
past 20 years.
Okay.
Like it's basically been nothing but detective novels, which is why I'm really excited to read more about Link, the Bone Collector.
Right, okay.
No,
Oh, so
well,
you
no,
still haven't gotten them yet. You
I
said
don't
you were
know
gonna
if
be
you've
reading those books like months ago.
I don't know if you've noticed. I've been busy.
Oh, right. Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes.
No,
That's right.
until
See, when you decide that I keep forgetting when you decide to write something, you actually sit down and write it. You don't need to spend weeks, months on end working up the nerve to actually do it. You actually can just do it. Fucking asshole.
uh well, just because I did it doesn't mean it's good. And
First drafts never are. Don't worry about it.
that is kind of well where I'm at is I guess I'm either maybe not final draft, but I'm on the second draft. And I went through and the past couple days as I've been going to sleep, I just keep rereading my chapter as I'm going to sleep. And
Mm,
as I'm going to sleep, I'm like, because I've added, no, after you took a look at it, I added another 1,000 words before I went to bed that night.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, this I wanted this to be a quick read. This is not going to be a quick read.
Probably not. No.
No, my original chapter 1 based off of the outline on my first draft was just about a page and a quarter. Now it's about 15 pages.
Okay. Yep. That's healthy.
Ow. Well, because everybody keeps telling me like you want your first book to be a little bit shorter, you want it to be kind of digestible, everything like that. Problem, I don't think I have that capability.
Well, and
I think if I try for it, I will ruin the story. I think I
mhm.
just got to do my thing.
And that's fine. Yeah. I mean, and like I was telling you before, like when the things I was saying, I was like, look, a lot of this is just taste. A lot of this is just, I'm sure there are folks out there who are going to love the way you do this. This was just didn't work for
Oh,
me.
there.
Mhm.
I took it into my voiceover class to do some work on some of the characters and everything like that. People in my voiceover class liked it so much that even the teacher wanted to read a scene from it.
See, there you
Like,
go. Yeah.
no, it's the review. I mean, but that's the thing, man. You're not gonna find a book that everybody likes.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist. The the tough part, the part that for me on this one that is a little bit demoralizing, is I don't have anybody in my life that is this kind of person.
Mm.
So that's where like it's tough to get a review from the type of person that would read this kind of book because somehow, even though I am very vocal over what kind of nerd I have not been able to surround myself with my kind of nerds.
It's weird how that works, right? Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
But I have said this before, I subscribe to a lot of fandoms. I don't hang out with any of the other fans because I
I have found uh, the things that I'm a fan of, when
Mhm.
I put myself around the other fans, they bother me.
Yeah,
I
because
don't know what that's
it's like
about.
you're a fan in a weird way. Like you've taken this in a weird direction, and it bothers me
I
to
feel
think
like
that
every time I meet a fan of something that I'm a fan of, that's the kind of fan that people think I am, and if I was that kind of fan, all the people in my life would be justified for a
right,
little bit of the judgment, a little bit of the worry. Like I get it.
which takes us back to a previous conversation of why Trekkers and Trekkies insist on being separated for that exact reason.
I stand by it. If you get upset over what you are called, you're too deep. That is specific to fandom.
Right. Yes.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, you can be upset over people calling you other things. No, very very reasonable. But if you get mad because somebody called you a Trekkie instead of a Trekker, you're one
Sorry.
of the problem ones.
Yeah. That's yeah. Sorry, you are the bad one that you don't want to be called if that's what you're gonna get hung up on. Yeah.
That's where I'm coming. Like me, and I have no shame in this. I am a big fan of the character Vegeta.
Okay.
Absolutely love the character, the mentality, and one of the things that I truly love about this character is he is unkillable. Now you might be thinking I'm talking like, oh, epic, badass character that nothing can kill it. Bleh. No. This character was introduced into a major series that is wow beyond the world, across the world beloved, called Dragon Ball Z, continues,
Mhm.
goes on and on and on. Vegeta was a character that was introduced in the second arc of the second series, and he was supposed to die at the end of at the end of that arc, just at the end of a fight.
Okay.
But the characters loved him so much that he came back, and then the creator kept trying to kill him. The creator of this character wanted to kill him. He did not like him. He kept trying to kill him in every single arc. He died, got his ass handed to him right there, all of this. But because the fans loved him so much, the writer and the creator was not allowed to kill him. This character was brought to major the major forefront of a lot of fandoms out of sheer willpower, and the fans won.
Hmm.
That is a wonderful story. That I love stories like that. That's how we got Spike. Nobody's
Yeah.
gonna
Yep.
argue with that. It was a great decision.
No. Yeah. For sure.
That's how we got Captain Awesome and Chuck.
Hmm.
Anytime the character rises above what the script meant for it to do and they survive, I think that is one of the greatest marks of a good story.
Right. Yeah.
And the story happening, the story takes a life of its own on. I
Which, yeah,
love
well, and
that.
it just goes to show, again, like one of those, and this is brought up during like
But I want to finish my
the
thought on Vegeta
okay,
real quick. There was only one
okay,
thing I kind of got into a role. I'm sorry about that. Because Akira Toriyama kept trying to kill him off and the producers kept making him bring him back, Vegeta became this worldwide symbol of tenacity
okay,
because he just kept getting back up. It did not matter how hard he got beat. And he straight up got killed. The creator wanted him dead. And he's like, nope. Like, he is an unbelievable symbol for not giving up.
okay,
Sorry,
yeah,
that was where the love of the character came in.
and that makes perfect sense. Sure, I still haven't seen Dragon Ball, but I totally get where you're
And
coming from.
I I I I don't understand that given the fact that I know you. It's like Chuck. I know there is something that you are gonna love. And I've known you for like 13 years and you're like, I don't want to love it today.
Look,
It's you can't
I
deny
have a
it's a weird
lot.
decision.
Yeah, but it's it's like it's the same as like, okay, look, and I was literally just talking to somebody else about this earlier, about how, like, look, I understand that it's been a long time since I've been dating anyone. Part of it is my own fault, part of it is circumstance, but a lot of it does have to do with the fact that, yes, when I am in love, I put a lot of effort into that relationship, but I'm tired right now. I don't know if I have that effort to give for a relationship. I'd be doing myself and my lover a disservice to be in love with someone and not be able to love them my way because I'm so tired.
You need to get some more spoons, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting old. What can I say? I didn't have a lot to begin with.
Which do you remember where that article is from or what that was?
No, and honestly, I've
Okay.
never read it. I've only heard it, like, I've heard it third hand from the people who introduced me to the term, like, in again, like 15 some odd years ago when it first popped up, and from what I understand, it didn't even have to do with I think it was specifically in reference to, like, the person who wrote it had, I think, Crohn's disease or something like that, and so they were just describing what it was like to live with a chronic illness, and then it was just
Oh.
like a lot of the mental health community just decided to steal it, because it worked so well for them.
But the metaphor that is behind that is essentially your whatever you have for your day, you set your table. So
Hmm.
you have work, you have one spoon for work. You have family, you have one spoon for family. You have like XYZ, you put down a spoon for X, Y, and Z. But if you don't have any more spoons and you figure out that you don't have that kind of energy,
Hmm.
don't set any more places. Be done planning your day.
Right.
And that is a very, very healthy mentality. And the spoon metaphor is a really good one. I have liked that since I heard it.
Hmm. Same here.
Yeah,
I
I don't
I
think I've
got
heard a
into it
better
with
one.
my kids' half sister because I said that. I said I don't have the spoons for that in front of my kids and their half sister, and and she went like, "That's such a dated phrase. No one says spoons anymore." And I'm like, "Fuck off, kid! Like, I don't have the spoons for you."
You gotta stop yelling at kids, man.
I've had it up to here with their shit, man.
No, I
26 years of this shit, and I'm done.
well, that's the thing. Like when I was in LA, there was one dude in particular that anytime that I would say something that honestly, old world wisdom, anything like that, just the knowledge that has stood the test of time. Like he
Mm-hmm.
would constantly, he would love to go out of his way. He's like, man, that's such a cliche. And I'm like, because it's so true. It's been said 50 million times.
Yeah. How do you avoid it? Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like it's just, so do you specifically aim for everything that comes out of your mouth to be original? Because that sounds exhausting and it can't happen.
Right. It
Like
makes getting your
there's no
point
chance.
across very difficult too. If you don't have any shorthand, it means you're going to be explaining yourself a lot.
And set aside from that, some sayings that are cliches, like
Mm-hmm.
you so broke you don't have a pot to piss in. That may be a cliche, but it speaks, that saying itself carries a lot of history behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So, in case you don't know the history of that phrase, that was from times like during the Great Depression and other times where they would use uh, urine to tan leather. So, what you would do is like the family would all pee in a pot, and then they would take that pot down to the leather tanners, and then they would sell it to them. But if you were so poor, you couldn't even hold something to hold your piss in to take it down to the leather tanners to sell it.
Right.
That may be a cliche, but the history behind that is actually, I'm sorry, there's a million stories right there within that, and it's kind of important not to forget things like that.
Yep.
I mean, talk about the perspective of trying to like make sure that you view things appropriately so you appreciate what you have in life. Think about that.
Yeah.
Every time I think about that, I kind of call myself out for all the bullshit that I've been thinking about recently.
Mm. Okay.
Some cliches, they still serve a purpose.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, well, and here's the thing. It's one thing because there is a difference between uh and I think that's kind of like where it's lost is like people kind of assume that just because something's repeated a lot of times that's a cliche and a lot of times that is true. Um but the interesting thing is that what this guy was calling a cliche is an idiom, and it is an idiom for a reason. It is a turn of phrase that communicates in the shortest number of words by creating an illustration, a large idea all at once.
Well,
Every
yeah, but when you
language
use an
has
idiom
tons of
so
these.
many times, it becomes a cliche.
Becomes cliche, yes, but that's the thing. It's like, but like, can you think of like if you were trying to put that same idea across? Can you think of another phrase to use?
Oh no,
So
no,
there you go. Yeah,
it's the perfect phrase.
yeah. So that, and
I mean,
that's
set aside from yo mama jokes, I mean,
now you mama jokes. Those are cliche.
and you don't get them anymore. When's the last time you heard a yo mama joke?
Only ironically. Like that's the thing. It's like when people will ironically say um it's like just like hurry up, we're gonna be late, and they're like your mom's gonna be late, and it's like dude, come on.
No,
Like it's
I'm
and
talking
it's not
jokes
it's
like, man, your family's so poor. I saw your mom like kicking a cardboard box down the street the other day, and I asked her what she was doing, and she said moving.
right. Okay,
No,
yes. No, I
yo
haven't heard any
mama
of
jokes.
those. I haven't heard those in forever.
Like your mama's so fat her belt size is equator.
Right.
They're dumb, but dude, when we were kids, that was like that was some of our favorite pastimes was to sit there and dog on each other's moms.
Right, yeah.
Actually, you know what? Last time I experienced a good set of yo mama jokes was Remember the Titans.
Oh right, yeah. Oh yeah. That's right. I remember that,
I gave your mom a piggyback ride and she weighed twice as much as me.
yeah.
Oh man, Bertier's response. Now that's a mama joke. No, oh man. Still, still a little bit surprised at how long it took you to watch Remember the Titans.
I was misinformed as to what it was about.
It is too good of a movie. But speaking of Denzel, we got to cover Training Day sometime.
Never saw Training Day.
Why? Is there a
When
reason?
it came out, it just wasn't the kind of movie I was interested in at that time, and just never got around to it since.
Brilliant?
I was already watching The Shield on TV. I kind of got I was getting my daily dose of bad cops already. I didn't need to
Okay.
pay $10 at the movie theater to see another one. So I was
That
just kind
that
of
that
like,
is
yeah,
fair. There is one scene in particular in Training Day that I think might be one of the most cinematically perfect scenes of that era.
okay. Well, I
I
mean, I am
am
certainly not
not
going to
kidding.
stop you from putting it on the list. Yeah.
Oh no, it's definitely. Actually, I'm gonna write down Stardust before that winds up getting lost in the ether.
Mm.
I'm guessing me roaming around looking for a pen probably looked like a boob on the camera.
I wasn't looking. I was looking at my own notes to make sure I had everything updated on there. Um, I wanted to run something by you, a
What's up?
concept idea. So we did it. We did the 10 things I hate about you. We an adaptation of a Shakespeare play, which followed on the heels of the
Midsummer?
Romeo and Juliet. Midsummer?
A Midsummer Night's Dream. Is that what you want to do?
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no. Um,
because Drew Barrymore
because
did a film
one of the things
adaptation of A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Well, one of the things I find fascinating about like the life of Shakespeare, like in the fact that his plays have lasted for 400 plus years, has to do with the fact that it keeps getting remade, redone, reinterpreted, reimagined, because he wrote down the words as poetry that can be interpreted in multiple different ways, depending on the reader or the viewer. No direction on there except for enter and exit of some characters. Largely, this is so wide open to interpretation that it's like at any given time there is someone putting on a Shakespeare play and they're doing something weird with it. Like we're doing The Tempest, but it takes place in Las Vegas. We get shit like that all the fucking time. And I kind of wondered, like, what if we started doing that with other shit? Like, what
Like
if we
what?
took screenplay, like the screenplays of older movies that were classics, and instead of readapting them, we just keep the same script, don't change a damn word, and just reimagine the visuals. Like take Spartacus from like the 70s and exact same script, but put it in like the deep south in the 1800s, and all the gladiators are black, and literally not change a
When did
single
we
word of
have
the script.
gladiators in the Deep South?
Okay.
I was okay. I just wanted to know if you were referencing something and that I was
No,
just
no.
wildly blanking on. I was so my brain
Wow.
took a shit on
Okay.
itself.
Clearly, this is a bad idea. American audiences aren't going to get it. I rescind my offer.
I just was lost in the explanation. Uh, no, I'm trying to think. Can you name some like powerhouse actors, Shakespearean actors? Um,
Patrick Stewart, Ian
different,
McClellan,
different, older.
uh, fucking
Is it
Robert De
Laurence
Niro.
Olivier?
Oh, Laurence Olivier was one for, yeah.
Okay, I think it
There was
was
also
Laurence
Yul
Olivier.
Brenner.
There was one of them. I think it was Laurence Olivier. He actually forgot the one of the lines in Romeo and Juliet. And
Whoa.
well, it's a to be or not to be. That is the question. He forgot whether it is noble. Like he forgot what happened right after that. So
Right,
what
yeah.
happened is he walked around stage for about 10 minutes just trying to remember the script. and he was stuck on there. What happened? And he stayed in character the entire time, just walking around the stage, just thinking what his next line was. And then when he remembered it, he went into it. The review on that night's performance, the critics said that was the best performance that he had ever seen, because in all of his years covering Shakespeare, he had never ever seen somebody stop to think about the question.
That is amazing. That is
Isn't that fun? I
amazing.
love that story so much.
Yeah.
You'd think I'd know who the actor was because of how much I love that story, but that is like what that is like the theater version of always keep the camera rolling.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Like
Yep.
in football, you don't stop until the whistle. In like film, you always keep the camera rolling. On stage, you don't drop
Stay in
character
character. Yes.
until the makeup is off.
Yep.
Like these things have hard set rules. I literally just went with the 3 rules that I am most affiliated with. Football probably didn't really belong in there, but whatever.
Yeah.
I loved playing football when I was a kid, man.
I'm sure
Did you ever play
it's
sports?
yeah, I played soccer as a kid.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say karate. I was like, man, don't say karate. Uh, what position did you play?
Oh, it was like a kiddie league, so no one ever stayed in one spot.
Oh,
We traded positions every game, so yeah.
okay. No, that was the thing. Like in high school, I would get out of football practice, out of the showers, and run to drama practice while I was just still soaked from the shower from football. Like
Okay.
a lot of times, still sweating because the shower cleans you. It doesn't cool you off all the way.
Right, yeah.
So no, I'd technically just wash that layer of sweat off, run to drama practice, and no, dude, I hated high school, but I had some fun. I mean, everybody
hmm
hated high school. Like, that's the worst time to be alive is
But
to be a teenager.
but yeah, well, and that's yeah, and that's the paradox of it is that it is terrible. You hate it. It's the worst time to be alive, and then 10 years later, you realize that life is never going to get better than that ever again.
Ugh. We lived different high school experiences. Life got way better.
Okay.
Ooh,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I mean, granted, yes, I did start having sex after high school, so yes, that did what was an improvement. But
No, I just
I also had to hold down a job that I think just on that alone was a wash. So everything else that came after
still
that was
better
better.
than school. Because here's the deal. I could quit a job, go get another one I like, with people I like. Those are options.
If you
When
say so.
yes, those that has dwindled a little bit, capability, but that's kind of one of those things. Like that's what makes it better. You have the options. The options become a part of your life, and you are the one steering. Good or bad, great decisions, terrible decisions, doesn't matter. They're
And while
yours.
that it, and yes, that is true. Also, at the same time, there were certain things that even if you didn't have control over them and they weren't your decisions, having the comfort of knowing that they were going to be taken care of is something and I get, you know, privileged suburban white kid, but you know, never having to worry
Right.
about getting evicted, never having to worry about what's going to happen if I miss rent next month, never going to have to worry about whether or not I will be having dinner tonight. Like these were suddenly when I moved out of my parents' house, these were things that suddenly I had to start worrying. I had to remember that I had to eat. The food wasn't just there for me to grab when I got hungry. I had to go like, "Oh shit, I have to go to the store and buy stuff and then bring it home and prepare it.
See,
Fuck."
you had a oh shit moment. I had a let's do this moment. I was
Okay.
I was all about it. Going grocery shopping, I loved that shit because the food I wanted came home,
Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
and I liked that. That was cool because I was a skinny little kid always trying to get fat. The rest of my family were on diets. So the food
Oh.
in my home, like for the last few years of living home, was absolutely terrible. The meat was all lean, the yogurt was all low fat, all of
Mhm.
the things, everything tasted terrible. It was rice cakes and all this stuff. I hated life. However, because as soon as I graduated high school, I joined the military and went to basic training and all that. When I moved out of my home, it was quite a bit after everybody else had. So the
Mhm.
very day I moved into my first apartment, without realizing it, I had a knock on my door and a bunch of little kids, trick or treat. And I'm like, I looked at my buddy, I was like, dude, what day is it? And he looked at his phone, he's like, October 3rd. Whoa, dude. And I'm like, and I panicked like crazy. I'm like, okay, hold on. So because I just moved out of my dieting family's home, all I
Right.
got is like yogurt. Okay, yogurt covered raisins are the absolute shit. I'm not going to. That is the like if there is a diet food that is
Oh,
king, that is just like the cream of the crop. It is yogurt covered raisins.
no, I will agree with you there. I do love the yogurt covered raisins as well. Yes.
That was amazing. So these little kids, they coming over and I'm giving them like yogurt covered raisins and Nutri-Grain bars. And their parents are sitting at like the top of these stairs because I have like a first apartment, like a little sub level under some dude's house.
Right.
And they're just like, what a responsible young man.
Who lets their kids trick or treat to a sub-level apartment under a house? That's
North Dakota, dog. Now you gotta, okay. This is what I say. Like when I moved to this, like when I moved to the city and I learned how a lot of the people my age grew up in the city, I learned that I didn't grow up in the 90s. I grew up in the 60s.
okay.
Like with when the streetlights came on, you get home. Like see that's the kind of a magical thing. Your alarm clock to be home is the fact that this is when the streetlights come on. But if you
Mhm.
weren't home when the streetlights came on, you got your ass kicked. It was bullshit.
Right. Yeah.
Because the second you saw one go on, like you just go, you just like hear it like start to kick on. It's like, run!
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Like I lived 4 miles away from my best friend's house, and at 11 years old, I would walk across town to see him almost every day. And one of our parents would give me a ride home.
Yeah.
Like we were 6 years. Oh man, he's gonna hate me for telling this story. We used to walk to school at like 5 and 6 years old. We would walk to school, and I swear to God, for like a 3 month stretch, we would sing Mr. Big to be with you every day on the way to school. Tell me you know that song.
I mean, maybe if I heard it, I'd
Oh, don't make
recognize
me do
it, but
this.
it's not.
Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I'm live on the internet. This is a terrible idea. How's that? Hold on, little girl. Show me what he's done to you. Dude, this is
Okay.
an
Yeah. Yeah.
80s hair
I know.
band. I cannot sing like that
No.
guy, and I'm not gonna try.
No. That did sound familiar. I think I am familiar with that song. Yes.
No, that was like that is still one of like a song that really does touch my heart. But we used like at 6 years old, walking a little over a half mile to school by ourselves, just screaming this song as loud as we could at 7 o'clock in the morning in negative 20-degree weather.
Okay.
Dude, I did not grow up in the 90s compared to a lot of people in the city that I've talked to. That is, oh yeah, you both hill like uphill both ways, right? I'm like, you you know how hills work, right? It goes up one. So yes, if you walk
Okay.
over a
See now,
hill,
Brad.
both
Brad, that was a cliche. That.
then you are going over a hill both way. Like
Yeah.
I've never understood the confusion on that one.
Okay. So see, when we were kids, our grandparents' stories were constantly getting more and more insane. We realized, and that was the joke is that our grandparents would be like, "You kids don't know, because when I was your age, you got this bus thing, and We had to walk to school, and it's like, and as the story goes on, the story got more insane. I was walking to school every day in the snow, uphill, and then it was uphill both ways. And
Jesus
oh,
Christ, Doc, you have
are you
no idea
sitting
what
there?
you're doing to my brain.
And and you're gonna sit there and like pretend pretend like people come up to you and going like, let me guess, you had to walk to school both ways, and then you're gonna sit there and be like, why did everyone keep asking me that? Like, that's a cliche. That was a cliche.
The
That
school
wasn't an
bus.
idiom. Hmm?
The school bus that would come to my farm to pick me up. It snowed so heavy in North Dakota that the school bus would look down the road and just go, nope, and drive on.
Ooh.
And it was about a 3/4 mile walk from that road. So they would call it. So if it was a blizzard, not like that, I would have to walk to the end, like, and snow coming up to like my waist. And I would have to walk all the way through that to the end of that road just to find out and wait for like an hour just to find out if the school bus left that day.
That's weird. I feel like you know, I hope that you would be given an excused absence in that case, because
Oh, no.
that's fucked up, man. That's
No,
not
I mean like
cool.
we lived in the country. If you live in the country, you have the ability to survive. You have a pickup, you have a plow, you have all of these things. Otherwise, you don't live in the country because you died.
Okay. See, but that's the thing. Like, but that's one of those.
It's kind
Okay,
of one of those like implied things, you know?
yeah, but and that brings, okay, and now we're talking about secret ballot again. Here we go. This is why these things are important, is because the idea that a child should be left out of the education system through no fault of their own is unacceptable. That bus should have fucking come to pick you up. That is their job, that is their responsibility, that is their duty as Americans. You should fucking sue those people.
Oh, absolutely not. Milt was my guy. He was
If
he was
Milt
our
was your guy, he would have come to pick you up.
Okay, so you're also forgetting how much of an asshole I was. Because the amount of times that I slept through the bus being there, he would come in, like on a nice day when the snow wasn't messing everything up, he would come into the yard and sometimes he would come all the way up to the house as close as possible, like this close from the wall, and hammer on the horn to wake me up. He was looking out for me. And there were a lot of times that he would sit there for like 20 minutes, but he had to pick up the other kids. And so, like, he was our butcher. He was a good. Let me explain how cool of a guy this was. When I transferred to this school, I was in my Sex Pistols punk rock phase, you know?
Okay.
Uh, Dark, some spikes, you know, some dyed hair. I didn't go as crazy with it as my friends did. But, you know, the dark clothes, trench coat, I was in that phase.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
I transferred to the school. Everybody thought I was going to repeat Columbine because of,
Sure,
like,
yeah.
you know, everybody was afraid of that. And like when I like people like as the years went on, like people were like, "Dad, when you first got here, I was terrified of you. Now I know you. I realize how like really stupid that was." I'm like, "Yeah, I have a Dothraki brow ridge. I understand that. So I do kind of look like a dick, but I am, but I'm also a very nice one, kind one."
The story is not getting any better the more you tell it.
Well, the reason why I had to kind of go into that, I had to rethink that one, is because of the Team America, dicks, pussies, and assholes speech.
Classic, classic.
It very much is. And no matter how you look at it, you are one of those three things.
Hmm.
And fact is, uh, pussies don't like dicks because pussies get fucked by dicks. And nobody likes assholes because assholes just shit on everything. It is one of the most incredibly simplistic yet wildly accurate just how do you
Metaphors.
qualify that? Metaphor, thank you. I just wanted to call it a speech because it kind of
Monologue.
is. It
Yeah.
is. Yes, monologue. There you go. It's a fucking perfect monologue, no matter how fucked up or weird it is.
Yeah.
It absolutely breaks down human nature in the most succinct way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of nuts. Um, what story was I telling?
You were saying something about your bus driver. You were telling a story about why he's the man.
Oh yeah, no. So when I got there, I was in my punk rock phase, black trench coat, spikes, all that stuff. Nobody on the bus would talk to me. He would let me hang out at the front of the bus, and he would talk to me just like I was one of his buddies.
Okay,
It was a
that's
good
cool.
man, very good man. Like that's the kind of guy that you really hope like when you have a kid that's a little bit out of the norm, a little bit weird, a little bit kind of as I was, as you were.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of hope that there is somebody out there like that that does make them actually feel like
No,
they
for
do
sure. Yeah.
kind of belong a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta say, my man Milt, rest in peace. You were a damn good man. Like
I still say he should have come pick you up. It was his job.
that's what I'm saying. I give him the leeway.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because I mean it's one of those things that you gotta understand. If he would have taken the bus and tried to go down that road, none of those kids were making it to school that day.
Okay, that's fair. Someone should have done something. Like that's where basically I land is that seriously, you should not have been deprived of a school day just because you happen to live out in the rural area. That's not
I don't
cool.
think I tried that
That
hard to
flies in the
overcome that
face.
challenge. If I, just being real here. I mean, yeah, I could have probably a neighbor. I mean, but Doc, I'm telling you, this is the place that like this is the same place. My dad and I got stuck out in a snowstorm, and it was so bad that I had to get out and walk in front of the semi and keep eyes on the side of the road and walk in front of the semi just so we could stay on the road. And after a few minutes, I got in the driver's seat and he started walking and we traded off. Like it wasn't just, the kid out there doing the thing. I
Hmm.
mean, definitely I should not have been in that truck. It was hauling two it was a double hauler, so a semi that would haul two different tanks. Like
Right.
you've seen those on the highway, right? Those big.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was driving one of those in a snowstorm while my dad was walking in front of a truck. The fact that neither of us died that night is kind of nuts.
Mm,
Most specifically him. I mean, the fact that I
right.
had no control over that break. But what really tripped up that night, as we were doing that, we were going too slow and the brakes froze on the truck or on the trailer. So the truck itself got stuck. So me and him were just walking side by side for like the rest of the way, all like home to find our farm.
Okay. I take back what I said, and now I've changed my judgment to no one should fucking live in North Dakota. It's clearly not meant for human habitation.
It barely is. Honestly, I still barely believe that Native Americans lived there
Yeah. That's
because
how I felt about Chicago. The whole time that I was in Chicago, because I'm like,
Chicago ain't got shit on North Dakota.
yeah, and that's the thing is
It's a
that
little
that
more
was too
humid.
much.
I will give you that. That humid,
Yeah,
it gets in your bones. Like I gotta give you that.
like there's
No,
there's two there's 2 months out of the year where Chicago is remotely habitable. The rest of the time, it is either way too fucking hot or way too fucking cold. The whole time I was there, I was like, what fucking idiot built a city here? I mean, my God, this is the dumbest fucking thing humanity has ever done. We should not be here. This is not where humans belong.
that and
Clearly.
anywhere in Mississippi.
Yeah. Yep.
No, I will give you that. I remember dating a woman who was raised in Russia, a Russian woman, and she was like bragging about the cold and all this stuff, and I was like, "And how cold is that?" And then she told me, I was like, "Oh, that's adorable." And so I was like, I mean, I didn't say it to Actually, I might have said it to her like that, honestly, because I am
Wow.
very cocky about the cold of where I come from. Um, I told her to look up the 5 coldest places in the United States. They're all in North Dakota.
Yep. Yeah. No.
It is insane how cold it
We should
gets
just
there.
pack everybody up and move you to Wyoming or something like that. I don't. I was
Oh
or
God, no! You don't want to give up the farmers in North Dakota.
no.
You just
I'm not.
don't.
We have advanced horticulture technology. I'm sure you can grow that stuff in places where it's not going to kill you.
Because of the extreme cold and the way that the soil and the nutrients in the soil, how extreme the cold gets, and then when it gets warm, what that does to the soil on the ground in North Dakota makes it some of the richest soil on earth.
Cool.
I
We live in the 21st fucking century. Is my counter argument to that.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man. You show me a place where they have brought in farming to bring out or into the modern areas that has not epically depleted their water supply, and I'll be with you.
I feel like that is an issue that can be solved as well. Like I keep
It can
is
be.
the 21st.
It ain't here yet. I mean, oh my God. When I was living in California, we had $2,000 fines if we used too much water. Like, we ain't there.
That was weird. Yeah. That was especially fun when Californians came up to Portland and like had conniption fits over our like constantly running water fountains in the middle of the street. They were like, "This is such a waste of water," and we're like, "We've got plenty. Chill out."
Fair enough. All right. You down to close the after hour?
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm done. Yep.
All right. All right, guys. We will see you next week, Thursday Mountain Time, 7